Rumours are currently circulating that there is to be a season 2 of Kenobi, that it's currently in development. Now, it should be stressed that there's no solid source for these rumours, so take everything with a pinch of salt. But if there is to be a season 2, I want to look at some things that I think Lucasfilm need to do in order to make it successful. Now, season 1 was highly anticipated, but for me it fell flat. It was a drab, soulless and stretched out story that was clearly meant to be a 2-hour film that was stretched into a 6-episode miniseries. Add in the awful visuals, the terrible character designs, and the dull acting, and it really was disappointing. Even the final showdown between Vader and Obi-Wan kind of let me down. It could have been so much more, and it turned out to be a bit of a rip-off of the Season 2 Rebels finale, Twilight of the Apprentice. So Season 2 has a lot to improve on if it's going to impress. So here's 7 things that I would like to see if it does come to fruition. Number 1, don't set the story too far ahead of Season 1. One of the issues with how the timeline of the prequels and the original trilogy works is that it presents us with an Obi-Wan who is in his late 30s at the end of the Clone Wars, and that means that Obi-Wan goes from this to this in just 19 years. Now, it's not a massive issue when it's just left like that, but Season 1 of Kenobi took place in 10 BBY, and that meant that Obi-Wan had an absolutely horrific aging issue in those last 10 years. It'd be fair to say that keeping the story as close to Season 1 timeline-wise would make more sense, so that we don't have those subconscious thoughts about how much he must age in those few years between the show and A New Hope. Number 2, get rid of the volume. The volume can have its uses. I think it looks great when it's an aid for external visuals. For example, when you're shooting inside of a cockpit and the projection makes the exterior look really realistic compared to, just CGI. And I'm sure that it's a great help for the actors too, but Season 1 seemed to use the volume for almost every single scene, and it just didn't work. Not only does it look ugly as distant shots have to be unfocused, it's very clear at times where the volume boundaries are. And the fact that sets have to be in a rounded shape to accommodate for the setup of the volume, it just kind of takes you out of the moment. Shooting on location can never be beaten. It gives you better colour, better lighting, and realism that the volume just can't replicate. Number 3, don't touch Darth Vader or the Inquisitors. Now, Darth Vader and the Inquisitors are way too overused in modern Star Wars in my opinion. The more that you use them, the less that they really matter. Vader should be that once in a decade appearance. That and the Inquisitors have become so disposable that whenever a new one shows up, it's not really even worth learning their name or backstory because you know that they're not going to be around long enough for you to care. So move away from Force users as the antagonists and give us something fresh and new. Number 4, write a story that is at least 8 to 10 episodes long. As mentioned, Season 1 felt like a 2-hour movie that was stretched into 5 hours of television. It really was bare bones at times, and if we are going to get a Season 2, I'd like for it to at least be 8 episodes long with decent run times, and the only way for that to be effective is to actually craft a story with enough content to make it flow smoothly and keep the audience interested. Number 5, get away from Tatooine. Similar to the issue with Vader, Tatooine is boring. It's supposed to be an insignificant backwater planet, but it feels like half of the events of the Star Wars saga take place there. Give us new, alien and vibrant environments, planets either that we've not seen before, or planets that we haven't seen in a really, really long time. Number 6, revisit Obi-Wan's roots. So the only logical way to develop Obi-Wan's character in a second season would be to dive into his pre-Jedi past. Now, he mentioned his family in Season 1, so the setup is already there. You'd think that after a decade in isolation, he must be curious about what happened to his original family. Not all shows need to be a cat and mouse chase between a Jedi and a Sith. Give us an emotional journey full of discovery that allows Obi-Wan to reconcile his past completely. And number 7, QuiGon must play a big role. So Liam Neeson appeared at the end of Season 1 in what I think was an unsurprising but pleasant cameo, but you can't jump into Season 2 and ignore it. He has to be a key player in the show. He doesn't need to be present at all times, but enough to feel like the cameo meant something more than just a nostalgia hit. I think Neeson and McGregor would have great chemistry together, playing their more mature and wizened characters, and it would help give more meaning to their relationship as master and apprentice. So that's 7 things that I'd like to see in Season 2 of Kenobi. Keep in mind that I don't really hold much stock in these rumours at the moment, and I think that it would be far more likely if we were going to get anything more from Obi-Wan, it would be in a movie format rather than in a second series, but we'll just have to wait and see. In the meantime, let me know what you would want to see from a Season 2 if it was to happen in the comments section below.